So timer begins now. So, as you guys know, this earlier this week, XDefiant announced a shutdown earlier this week, and I kind of saw this from a mile away. So this article comes from to us from Screen Rant. Now this is the updated article because originally the refunds were not talked about yet. Now they are. XDefiant shutting down in 2025 with refunds issued alongside major changes already happening in game. So I'm just gonna sum up this article in a few words because it is a long article and we have to get to the rant for this evening. So basically, Mark Rubin, the head of XDefiant, Pixels of Mark, announced the shutdown a few days ago, December 3rd, 2024. And basically, the idea of the tweet here is the summary is as follows. So so basically, if you if you downloaded the game before December 3rd, 2024, you are allowed to play until June 2025. Keep in mind that if you purchase the Founders Pack within the last 30 days, you are going to get a refund, and the servers will remain active until June 3rd, 2025. Um, a few years ago, they founded the dev team in San Francisco embarked on a bold adventure to develop a new arcade shooter called XDefiant. It was, from the start, an incredible challenge. Not only we were trying to shake up the game by removing skill-based matchmaking, thank you very much, while bringing back a whole old-school arcade shooter experience, but we were also diving into the high risk, high reward of a free-to-play realm. And for that, I want to applaud our not only the dead team, but also the Ubisoft leadership for taking that chance. So a little bit about this. Yes, a lot of people were praising XDefiant because they did not have SBMM or skill-based matchmaking. Skill-based matchmaking was the bad part of COD, and nobody in COD liked SBMM, skill-based matchmaking, and it sucks. Skill-based skill-based matchmaking sucks a lot, and that's a lot of people why a lot of people are upset. Free to play though, a lot of people like free to games, but this is not your typical oh get your game free and then you get to run around with it. No, this is a competitive game. Um, many free to game, many free to play games take a long time to find their footing and become profitable. It's a long journey that Ubisoft and teams working on the game were prepared to make very recently. But unfortunately, the journey has come too much to sensibly continue. I am, of course, broken to have been writing this post. Yes, this game has been a personal passion of mine for years, and yes, I know that not all challenges lead to victory. But I also want to recognize all the developers who've been affected by this closure. Yeah, right here, passion. Mark Rubin had the passion for making this game. We covered this ever since it started to gain popularity, and we tried to we actually what's going on, Awesome King? We actually played a few games of Defiant during the time of the game. Now, why what happened to Defiant and what we're gonna get into that in a moment. If there's one thing I hope you can take away from this experience, it's the importance of being open, honest communication between developers and players. The player first mentality, along with the respectful, non toxic conversation between developers and players, has been one of the standout differences that made X Defiant so special. Absolute fact. For those of you who are not aware, they communicated with us every single week of the game's existence. Okay, Call of Duty doesn't do that. Oh no, 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 no. They're focused more on Warzone, folks, not multiplayer COD. Ever since Warzone became a thing. So yeah, to our players, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to express my deepest gratitude for an incredible community that has grown around XDefiant. Your passion, creativity, and dedication have inspired us every step of the way. Um, with love, with the utmost love and respect, Mark Rubin. Yeah, and there's refunds. Okay, why did XDefiant had to shut down? I have a few theories. Okay, again, you can read the Mark Rubin tweet at your own time. So here's what according to Screen Rant says. There's one simple reason why XDefiant is shutting down. Money. Keeping a seasonal multiplayer game alive can be incredibly expensive. Ubisoft must have been paying this for servers to keep the game up and running. Developers to generate new and test and new content, the hardware to keep it afloat, and much more. Rubin made it clear that the cost of keeping XDefiant afloat would greatly surpass the profit it was expected to make, and thus the decision was made to shut it down. Makes sense. You need a lot of money in order to run a game with server, like multiplayer online games. That makes a lot of sense. Free to play games don't usually have a couple of paths of profit. Usually they're big sellers or battle passes, monthly subscriptions players can sign up for in order to receive better rewards for completing in-game tasks. Besides that, many free to play games make money off the in-game purchases, like cosmetics usually require the purchase of the or virtual currency first. XDefiant have all of the above. For one reason or another, they did not appear to be selling. Hmm. So that's one thing. It's money. Or in the form of this case, the lack of money. It's one thing where Call of Duty is the king of money, where they make money. But it's another thing where the cost to develop the game and keep everything up, it's going to be less. It's going to be more than the profits you make. If the cost to keep the game up is higher than the profit, you are in trouble. That's not good. The COD case is the other way. Yes, it takes a while. It takes a lot to make money because of the profit and the cost to keep the servers. But they can do that because they make more money out anyway. Because Call of Duty is more established. It's more of an established game. Mm. And I heard another thing is to grind. Like, what are you grinding for other than cosmetic? Nada. There's there's nothing in there. So for that, we have to give that one a strikeout. Oh, but the article continues, folks. Sources claim it was solely a problem of low player count. This one I agree with. According to an Insider Gamer report from August 2024, XDefiant was struggling to pull player counts about 20,000. The developers apparently denied these claims. It has since deleted the blog. Either way, XDefiant's player counts were impossible to verify, since none of the platforms um, where XDefiant was able available announced player counts are transparent, like Steam. That may be another reason for its player count low. No Steam. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense because if you think about it, when you play a game on Steam, there's a thing called Steam Chart, and Steam Chart tracks how many players are playing a certain game. And unfortunately, because XDefiant didn't release for Steam, there is no way to verify player count. That's a no now. Well, it's a it's a technical no now, but you're supposed to release on Steam because we need to know the player counts for that. The other thing is it was a very buggy very first few days. Now that makes sense because number one, games were buggy at launch, but number two, the technical aspect of the game is a little off. Everybody was complaining about the net code and all that stuff. So yeah, it was very buggy, unfortunately, and it did not surpass expectations in that department. But here's what Screen Analysis says. Our take: XDefiant was doomed to fail with an oversaturated market, and I kind of have to agree here. I have to agree with Green Rat here because if you played the game since launch, how many maps are there? Four or five. But then you have the bugs. You had the netcode problem. You had the balancing of the specialties. You had to deal with the spider bot for the for that one class. I forgot what it was called. Then you have to think about, oh, because they're pushing in a lot of IPs and they're trying to put them all together, like Watch Dogs, Far Cry, Tom Clancy, and you already had a lot of players in the market of FPS. Call of Duty is a big one, and the timing of this is also what we need to talk about. Called COD, Counter Strike, Overwatch, or Valorant. Those are the big boy hitters. Eh, So that's what's going on, and I had a feeling the game was doomed from the beginning, and I didn't want to say that, but that's true. No, it's the article continues. That's what happened. Yeah, we've been live for about 5 minutes. Hold on. Hold up. Hold up. Because I need to make sure your voice gets in here. Oh yeah, Screen Rant is right. Yeah, get ready. I'm going to rant. I have a rant to do. Oh boy. Go ahead, try to say hi.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late. It's I, Kyle the Wolf. I'm pretty sure you remember me from previous videos. Sorry
Oh,
I'm late. I had to do something with a couple of friends of mine. And, yeah, and also I was busy gaming too.
all right. You're good. Okay, so let's get this part. Let's continue this party.
Place.
Oh yeah. So what I was about to say is, um, XDefiant was doomed to fail from the beginning with the oversaturation of the market, and there's so many players out there: COD, Overstrike, Watch, and Valorant, and even Counter Strike if you want.
Shame. It had a real good potential to be the next great shooter game, but guess it didn't have all the backup it needed to.
Yeah, it was a
Plus,
good game while it lasted. It's just that there's too much competition now, and it's underwhelming in terms of content.
yeah, I guess so. We got big hitters like Halo, Call of Duty, Overwatch, Fortnite, stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we also still have TF2 if any of you guys are familiar with that.
And
And
there's a
guess what?
lot of games. And don't forget refunds are also being issued if you're not get them ready.
Oh, and fun fact, do you know that TF2 is still getting updates to this day? It just takes a while.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Valve
but there
likes to
is a major story coming about of the refunds. For those of you who are not aware, we have to go to Mr. Young Yeah for this
you know,
for this update
young
because it
yeah.
turns out there's a little bit of a controversy going on with refund, and that controversy comes into the form of shortchanging.
Alrighty.
As you guys can see here from Young Yeah, Ubisoft Ubisoft shortchanged XDefiant players on refund after lying that the game wouldn't die.
So you
Mm-hmm.
think you know
So on top of not on top of getting refunds, you're getting shortchanged. So basically, the refund that you're gonna get is very, very small. That's what's going on here.
Wix. Do you really?
Oh yes, I like Wix.
First
I
up,
do
we've got
website
Shape
development. Thank
Video.
you.
In my last video titled Ubisoft shut down XDefiant after promising they wouldn't as player numbers plummet, I discussed
Man, what
the
a
death
shame.
of XDefiant, yet another AAA live
What a
service,
shame.
one from Ubisoft this time, that has unceremoniously ended after it failed to garner a consistent audience base. And with XDefiant being a free-to-play game, that right there is lethal. From day one, its reception was meager. You can see the critical and
This one makes sense. Because it's underwhelming. Unfortunately, I love the game, but it's underwhelming.
user
I guess so.
reception on
But
Metacritic
I'll have to be right back. I'm taking a little bit of a bathroom break.
Okay, go for it.
is not particularly great. It did see significant numbers during its launch period, reaching 1 million unique players within 2.5 hours and eventually 8 million unique players. Sunsetting is being handled, specifically how they're providing refunds. And keep in mind that Mark Rubin assured not once but twice that there'll be no plans to shut down on June 3rd, 2024. Basically, players who purchase currency or DLC within the last month before the announcement of the sunsetting of the game will be eligible for refunds. But here's why that is actually an incredibly unreasonable window. As I said before, there was a promise from Mark Rubin that the game is absolutely not dying. And this was a promise that was made all the way back in September 18th, 2024.
Yeah, that's a very important point. The game was not supposed to shut down, and this was promised to us.
That is 3 months before the game's sunsetting. And then it was only a month later, on October of 2024, that Mark Rubin further assured that there are no plans to shut down after Season 4. What that did was assure people that not only will you be able to play the game for the long term, but you are safe in buying more virtual currency, more DLC, spending more money on this game because the game was not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And so people did spend money on the game between September of 2024 and December of 2024. It was an assurance that it was safe to spend money on this game and that money would not go to waste. But we learned out of the blue on December 3rd that if you spent money following the assurance that the game would not die, you did end up wasting that money unless you spent it after November 3rd. The fact that the refund window
November 3rd to 30 days, December 3rd will be your refund window.
is only a month before the game's sunsetting and not 3 months, which is the time window in which it was assured that the game is absolutely not dying, is, I think, utterly scummy and really deceptive. I think Ubisoft has a duty to guarantee a refund to anyone who purchased any sort of DLC or currency not after November 3rd, 2024, but the day in which this assurance was made, which was September 18th.
I agree, because when you issue a refund, you want to make sure the players get the money back. But they have to do it during the time they announced the assurance run.
2024. There's no scenario in which this game was ever going to give a full refund across the board because it was alive for long enough. It's not like a Concord situation where the game died so quickly, mere weeks after launch, that they just essentially had to give a full refund because people really didn't get to experience the game. With XDefiant, people did get to experience the game for months, but a lot of promises in terms of the roadmap was not fulfilled because of the game's early demise. So some form of refund is warranted. And I think the ideal window to make that refund policy much more graceful is the 3 months in which people thought for sure this game was absolutely not going to die, by Ubisoft's own communication, by Mark Rubin's own.
Guys,
And we
I'm
have
about
an
to
ad, but yeah, I do agree
cash
with
a
Riyang
check for
Yavdan.
$180,000 and get my entire car loan paid.
Communication, because otherwise this is essentially a grift, giving people that false sense of security that it's okay to spend money on this game that they assured would be in it for the long run, only for them to find out that if they spent money between September 18th, when the assurance happened that the game would not die, and November 3rd, then that money is completely wasted on a game that once it dies, all of the money poured into currency and DLC will have been in vain. I also want to highlight that
That's true.
them refunding the Ultimate Founders Pack, I don't think that was out of the kindness of their hearts. I think that was kind of a bit of a requirement for them. For those who don't know, there are 3 Founders Packs. There's the regular Founders Pack for $19.99, the Founders Pack Elite for $39.99, and the Founders Pack Ultimate, the one that's getting refunded, for $69.99. And I think the reason this one specifically is getting refunded is because it was unable to fulfill all of its promises. Among the things that's included in the Ultimate Pack is all 4 Year 1 factions are unlocked as they become available. The game did not last the year that is required for all 4 factions to be unlocked.
Not even close.
And so they have to refund this lest they risk legal repercussions due to the fact that promises here were unfulfilled. If they were doing this out of the kindness of their hearts, then they would have refunded the Founders Pack and the Founders Pack Elite as well. But as far as these packs are concerned, essentially the promises were fulfilled enough where they deemed it not refundable, despite it being money that went to waste on a game that only lasted less than a year in terms of it being
I think it was only 6 months.
sunset. And in terms of the shutdown, it'll have lasted just slightly over a year. The game launched in May of 2024. It'll completely shut down in June of 2025. It's a pretty short-lived live service, especially for a Ubisoft live service, where they tend to try to stick with a live service even if
Yeah, there's some of what's going on. Basically, we just got scammed, folks. If
What I
you
miss,
So basically, what happened, what it was referring to was the Founders Pack, because they were supposed to get refunds.
And I'm just back here confused of what I missed. If that was in my room.
Oh yeah, Jake the Wolf's here too. Say hi to him, everyone.
Oh no, because it only lasted for 6 months. So basically, what he's saying is everybody should get all their money back. Whoever made the purchase for the Founders Pack, especially for the Founders Pack, because that's a lot of content you're not getting.
That's a lot of money they have to route to.
And the ultimate Founders Pack is $70. So think about $70. That's enough for one full game 2024. We do have another story to get to though. I'm going to just do a second video on this if you guys are interested. More in terms of um like point by point basis. But don't worry if you miss anything. We will be highlighting that in a separate video. But I want to get into our second story. Our second story for tonight is going to be about an anime-inspired GTA game that you guys might be interested in. So we'll be back for that in just a quick bit. We'll take a quick break